Now, as we look ahead to 2026, companies are discovering how to harness AI for transformative growth, creating clear benchmarks and strategies that enable them to thrive in an evolving business landscape. Talk to us about what unique value AI has actually brought to companies that are successfully implementing it.
When integrated well, and I will say that, when integrated well and the setup is done correctly and the training has been done correctly, some businesses are seeing extraordinary transformation in what they're doing. It means that their employees can do a whole lot more with less time, and that the quality is also good as well. And so it just means they're able to amplify what they're doing at an increased rate. However, as has been reported, there's a lot of businesses who haven't yet seen the value of AI, and it's largely because the adoption rate is exponentially growing, but these companies aren't providing any training. There is no groundwork being done, and tools are being thrown at employees and told we're using AI now, but there's been no really true integration in how to do that. And many organizations still don't even have an AI policy. So there's no real sort of strategic integration of AI to get the most out of it. And so the companies that are doing it very well have done that groundwork, but they also leave a space, a safe space where their employees can innovate and experiment with their tasks and do things in a new way, but in a safe way as well.
Most organisations obviously want to have some sort of ownership. They want to have some sort of control over the use of AI because of the risks of getting things wrong. And we see it all the time, right? Whenever you use AI, there's usually something that isn't quite right. For some companies, as we've seen with Deloitte and others, it can be pretty embarrassing when it goes big and goes out. And it's that real tussle for control over the use of AI, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And look, I went to the Marketing AI conference earlier this year in Cleveland, Ohio, and one of the key things around that was saying that you need to have those safeguards in place. So even creating roles now that are verification checkers and editors, so that there is some level of quality control before things come out. Because just because something is faster and cheaper doesn't mean it's better. And that's why it's really important to make sure that these things are being checked. Also, the way that you set it up also helps with that. It won't eradicate the hallucinations for sure. However, you can set it up and train the AI on the things you need it for and on your brand voice and those sorts of things, and giving it the context and the right prompts to get it closer to what you need. And what I'm seeing in businesses that are just jumping at tools rather than actually having a certain and a decent strategy is that it's taking them longer to implement properly, and they're not seeing the value because they're not doing that initial work to get it to a point where it is going to provide that value.
Yeah, and we've been reporting as well that there are surveys across the United States in particular where organisations, companies are saying, look, we're being told about this promise, we're seeing that it's the next best thing, we think it probably is, we're throwing everything at it. We're not seeing the transformative change we're being warned is going to completely change the way organisations operate. Do you think that will ramp up in 2026, or do you think that there really is just a limit to AI until generative AI comes about?
Look, I think that if you look at those studies as well, the adoption rate is far outweighing the training. So there was a study that came out in Australia, a report a few weeks ago, the State of AI report, where adoption rates within organisations is now at like 86%, but the level of training has not shifted at all. I think the true transformation comes is when you give your staff the ability to learn how to use it well, and rather than just expecting them to muddle their way through. And so they need to be supported. It needs to be an ongoing thing as well, because the technology is constantly changing. So it's not a case of, okay, here's the tool, go and work it out for yourself, and not provide ongoing training. So that's where I think that the problem is. They're looking at AI as a silver bullet rather than looking at the support that's really needed to create true transformation with it. So I think if the training levels increase and the back-end support increases and organisations take a more strategic approach to AI integration, yes, that transformation will come, and I hope it improves next year for sure.
Does it surprise you that businesses are in this situation though? Because many saying that unless there is a tailored, I guess, model for them, they don't believe that it actually works, that it's too general for their needs. What's your response to that?
It does make sense to create your own AI for your own organisation, absolutely, if you have the money to do that, because it will be as tailored as possible to your needs. However, you can tailor, when you subscribe to certain tools, you can tailor it. You can customize it to your needs by using the different features that it has. But you need to spend that time doing that. So it's not always about the prompts, it's about setting it up with context and example documents and continuing to train it with examples as well to make sure that it does what you need. If it's generic, it's because you're approaching it in a generic way.
Yeah, and talk to us about some of the common mistakes companies are making when it comes to adopting AI.
I think sometimes the lack of training, the lack of actually having a consultant come in to help with that integration, and not just a general AI consultant, but a consultant for each area. So you would want, say, an AI consultant that their specialty is in, say, finance, to help the finance team do it, or in communication for that team. There's an AI consultant doesn't know every industry, so actually really finding that someone who understands it is really, really important.
All right, Dr. Karen Sutherland, always appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you 2026 as well. Thank you.
Thanks so much.